Hello and welcome to the first ever episode of State of the Project Devault. I'm your host Cryptosi, and this is going to be a monthly podcast where we speak about all things happening with the Devault project. Devault is a brand new project, and we've got one of the lead developers and one of the founders of the project with us this month, and we may get different other team members or DAO members next month or the month after, but we'll go into more detail as we get on with the podcast. But first of all, without any further chit chat, let me introduce Decentralizd, who is one of the founders of Devault. Decentralizd, how are you today?
Doing pretty good, man. How about you?
Yeah, I'm great. It's an absolute pleasure to have you on. And we've also got Proteus, who is one of the developers. Proteus, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Yeah, I'm great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for giving up your time. So I guess I'll start with you, Decentralizd. This is probably the thing that most listeners are going to want to hear first and foremost. What exactly is Devault, and what has it been built to accomplish?
I mean, that is a pretty loaded question in the sense that, it could be something different to everybody. To me, I guess the initial goals that some of us put forth when we kind of put these ideas together was just kind of create a digital cash-like system that everybody has access to. Also have a sort of an incentive layer that everyone has access to, similar to staking or, some form of mining rewards like that. Not everyone's fortunate enough to have, access to complicated software or hardware to earn these type of cryptocurrencies. So we're trying to kind of pioneer a way to sort of mash together what you would call social media platform with a little bit of a crypto governance platform. And I think that comes out to look something similar to LinkedIn in some degree. But at the end of the day, the goal is to create a digital cash-like platform that kind of facilitates, digital cash transfer between peer-to-peer parties. And I think that is the basis of building a basic economic layer online. After that, you could do a lot of cool things.
Awesome. It's a very interesting concept. I've had quite a deep look into the project. I'm really looking forward to working with you guys as well. When you say the way that rewards can be earned on the system, will it be a staking system? Will it be proof of stake or proof of work? How will that work?
I can briefly explain that, but if Proteus wants to go into any sort of technicals, I would say feel free, as they're the ones doing most of the coding. But from my understanding, the way it works is as long as you are holding the coins for a long enough period of time. During testnet, it's a very short period of time, but on mainnet, it'll be about a month. You will start receiving what's called cold rewards, and they're going to be basically little rewards that happen every now and then, just as an incentive to keep holding, as an incentive to participate in the economy. And obviously, people don't want to hold some form of value that just sits there and stays the same value every day, even though, one coin is always going to be equal to one coin. We think that there's some form of incentive layer there that really helps the user. And, that was kind of my understanding and how I explained it. The way they coded it, I'm sure Proteus can touch base on that.
I did want to actually ask Decentralizd, was this idea of cold staking, was it particularly aimed at the unbanked or aimed at the type of users who actually, Proteus, I could bring you in actually here. Was it actually aimed at users who don't have this kind of hash power, who don't have these fancy computers, who don't have computers capable of running proof of stake networks? Was it aimed at people, the unbanked, who have got possibly old Android phones and things like that, where they can barely run a wallet and they can still receive awards, they can still participate in the economy? Was that kind of a factor in choosing this kind of cold staking system?
Yeah, I think that definitely played a role, is making it accessible to everyone. And the way that the rewards are paid out are based on participation. So it's not like there's a set amount that is going to be distributed every month, and then if there's low participation, the people, those participators would receive more. Instead, it's a system that's set based on your participation, and it's not going to have a cap. So as more people participate, more of those rewards will be distributed. And the network is 100% secured by proof of work. So while there's the cold staking mechanism, that doesn't play a part in producing the blocks whatsoever. The cold staking is completely a reward system, but the network is still completely secured by proof of work. So it's definitely a stronger mechanism of securing the blockchain.
Awesome. So does that mean that it's actually not proof of stake at all? It's purely proof of work with this cold staking on top. Is that right?
Absolutely. So none of the actual blocks are being produced by proof of stake, but people are receiving rewards for participating in the network, but not in an active way. So it's done in a cold reward mechanism. I think most people are used to understanding that and the concept of staking. So that's why we use the word cold staking sometimes. But really, it's participation rewards.
Awesome. Okay, so I guess the second question that people all want to know, and now that their juices are flowing for the actual launch of Devault, is have you got a planned date for the mainnet release?
Yeah, so we started the testnet yesterday. We're going to run that for the time being up until the weekend. If it all goes well till the weekend, we don't see anything, we don't want to waste any more time, we're probably going to talk about launching on the weekend, just because there's no possibility of anyone complaining about some form of a ninja launch or anything like that, just based on the design of the mining reward system. It's going to keep increasing for the next basically 2 years, so I don't think that would be an issue. At the worst case scenario, if something comes up, there's a little bit of work left to do. The goal was to launch Monday and with mainnet.
Awesome. And Proteus, how have you found working with the Devault development team? Is it currently a large team? Are you working alone? And how are you finding it?
I mean, 90 or pretty much all of the development has been done by me and the lead developer Spock. Spock's amazing developer, and working with him has been great. I believe he's been a C++ dev since the 80s, so definitely very experienced in that department. But no, it's been very fluent for the size of our team, with the core development pretty much being handled by us. A lot of that being Spock, really. We've definitely made great accomplishments in the short period of time that we've been working on it. So it's been really exciting, and we've meshed really well, and we're excited to see the team grow as the project grows and the network grows as well.
Okay, I guess that leads me on to my next question, and that is about the code base that Devault is based on. Could you tell us what code base it's based on and why you chose that particular code base?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is something that we actually mulled over for quite a while. This project has been something that's been worked on since the middle of last year. But one thing is after looking through different options and different some things that we wanted to implement, we did realize pretty quickly that we're going to have to do a lot of things from scratch. So we decided to go with the Bitcoin ABC code base because it is a very strong code base. It already has big blocks of network scalability, and beyond that, there's a lot of features in there that are just now starting to be used that we can leverage and utilize on our chain. So we have everything that Bitcoin ABC has, including the early implementation of Avalanche, some Schnorr signature stuff that we'll probably implement, 32 megabyte blocks, except for we have a 2-minute block time, so we're actually able to do a higher amount of throughput. And we also removed base 58 from the code base. Now, most people aren't going to know what that means, but what that translates to is the way that the addresses look are different. Ours are purely BEC32 without any SegWit behind that. And what that does is actually gives us better encoding for QRs, and then also lighter transactions. So we can actually fit more transactions per block than Bitcoin ABC. We forked originally from Bitcoin ABC 0.19.2, I believe, but we've been keeping up with the updates to their code base since then. So we're pretty much in line with 19.5 currently, with all of our development on top of that.
Awesome. That does sound like a lot of work. It really does sound like a lot of work. So, well, congratulations on managing to keep up with the mighty Bitcoin ABC. Just to clarify, Bitcoin ABC is effectively Bitcoin Cash that
correct.
Didn't fork into Bitcoin SV, right? Okay,
yeah.
Perfect. Okay, Decentralizd, I want to bring you back in here, and I want to ask you, what are the goals for Devault over the next short year or 2 year period? What sorts of things do you have planned? And I realize that it's a DAO and that you can't make any actual promises at this point, but what sorts of things are going through your mind from I guess, just I'll leave it open. What sorts of things are going through your mind for this project?
Yeah, no, I can take that. I would say that's again, that's something I could go on for 20 minutes about. So I'll try to keep it short and sweet. But at the end of the day, again, it's a DAO. I will be doing a lot of things related to marketing. I'm sure Proteus is going to have a lot of web development projects going on. Spock will have a lot of core development projects that he's wanting to work on. But at the end of the day, I think some of our goals are just to always worry about the end user in any way we can, meaning mobile wallets, meaning better user experience on all of our current software that we have out. I don't think that necessarily looks like chasing exchanges and trying to be like, hey, can we please have some of your volume? I think at the end of the day, success in this realm, in this current market, looks more along the lines of user adoption, user sort of acquisition in that sense. Because like at the end of the day, what is a blockchain without a lot of users? It's probably not very useful. So our goal is to kind of focus on number one and number two is get the users, make sure the users are happy, make sure the users are actually getting what they or thought they were going to get when they started using, this coin. This coin is essentially designed as not necessarily we don't want them to go out and say, hey, where can I spend this all day long? We kind of want them to understand that there's a value in cryptocurrency. We want to help fund people paying their friends back. We want to help fund people paying for business transactions, whatever that may be. We want to help basically people get involved in the DAO as much as we can. So all the goals that are going to be sort of related to that is going to come out into be like mobile wallets. It's going to come out to be education platforms. Basically a long laundry list of things I could just basically throw out there. But at the end of the day, it comes down to who's going to basically pick up that idea, run with it, complete it, make sure it gets handled properly, because I think the main bottleneck we're going to have is there's a lot of ideas and there's a lot less people that want to do the work. So I would definitely encourage people to, think about things that they're talented in, they're skilled in, and that they could bring to the table, because that would definitely help us kind of get any sort of goals accomplished faster. But in terms of, just certain things that we know we can accomplish, I think obviously we're going to work on a mobile wallet first for both iOS. I think Proteus can confirm we've already kind of added the code for the Trust wallet as well, so we can kind of work on that. Obviously all those multi-coin wallets, we'll do our best to get on those. But at the end of the day, we want to focus on launching the Devault online platform next. That's going to be something where it's the, I would call it the heart of the DAO, but I don't want to go so far as to say that, because we also want people to have competing platforms. But it's basically going to be a social media network that is designed around the concept of user-based voting. Obviously, you're going to have your own profile. You can message your friends. You can add friends. You can fill out your resume on there. Not your resume, but your profile. You can add your resume, whatever you want to do. But the whole goal is just to facilitate, I would say, peer-to-peer transactions, business-to-business deals. We want people to sort of get involved in an online economy and sort of detach themselves as much as they can from being only stuck in maybe their local economy when in terms of business transactions and things like that. And I think that's that's a pretty good, healthy to-do list for the first couple months. After that, it really comes down to how fast are we scaling these DAOs, how many DAOs are being added, and in sort of how do we standardize those processes in a way that everyone's happy and had a voice in.
Okay, that sounds great. What I'm slightly aware of is that some people listening may not actually understand what a DAO is, and it does seem like quite straightforward to you and possibly to me and Proteus, because we've worked with DAOs for years now. But could you explain, Decentralizd? Could you explain who is in charge of what will the team structure be? If somebody does want to do something or does want to work with Devault, who do they go to? Who do they ask? And who makes the decisions? How does that work?
Yeah. So first and foremost, I would say the initial structure is not representative of the ideal structure. The initial structure that we have is we currently have I would say 5 DAOs. We were trying to go with 6, but we don't have enough. I would say staff. I would guess you could call it volunteers to kind of man the 6 per se right now. So next thing is to do is add new DAOs. But for now we have 5. The 5 are going to cover anything from development to web development projects to community support, to business development, sort of like getting the relationships built with other crypto businesses and maybe exchanges, things like that. And then obviously there's the DAO that I'm in charge of. And the way that this works is that marketing is its own DAO. So these are all pretty similar, but each DAO is going to operate a little bit differently, I would say. Each DAO has a coordinator. The DAO is getting 5% of the block reward schedule, and that comes out to 5% times 5. That would only be 25%, but we give an extra 5% to the core development DAO because obviously core development is not as cheap as marketing. We wanted to make sure that we were well funded in that sense. And every time a new DAO is added by the voting mechanism on, at first, I guess you would say Devault.online. Let's say that a new DAO is voted in by the people. The people are the holders. The holders are voting in a one coin, one vote like fashion. So basically, like if there's 20 million coins out in the ecosystem and at least 1% of those coins vote on a proposal, that proposal is a 60% yes, then that vote is considered a pass. At the end of the day, though, this system is going to change a lot. It's going to grow. Right now, it's in a very beta state. And I would say, we are doing our best to make everything fair, auditable, transparent. But at the same time, this is new area. Nobody's really done something like this as much as we're trying to do. Like, we really want people to be in charge. We want everyone to have a voice. We don't want it to be a system where it's like, oh, you don't have a master node? Well, sit down and let us make the decisions for you. We want everyone to sort of be a part of that talk, whether their voice is representative of 0.0001% of the coins or whether their voice is representative of 1% of the coins. I don't think it should matter outside of the voting. And I think that everyone should have a fair share at having part of that conversation. And so that's kind of why we did the website for the social media part of it. But at the end of the day, again, like, this is a project to build a DAO. We want this to be sort of a digital organism. We want it to manage itself. I want myself and Proteus to be able to look back, be able to know that, this thing will live beyond the years of us, our children. Because at the end of the day, like, if all these projects are dead in 10 years, then like, what did we really accomplish as a I would say a space? And so far we're doing all right, but I've seen a lot of cryptos die. And I think usually it's because of lack of audibility, lack of, transparency. And I think that's kind of where the DAO comes in play big time, is just being able to have those things.
Yeah, I really do agree with a lot of the things you said there. Obviously, I've known you for some years now, and you've always had this exact same desire to make things, for want of a better word, fairer. And I realise that it does sound naive to say we want a fairer world, but it really does feel like that is at the core of what's happening here. I just want to bring Proteus back in.
Yeah, can I throw one thing on there though? Real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Now that you say that, actually, it's a good point. I would say I disagree with that. I would say, yeah, we want things to be more fair, but at the end of the day, the world's always going to be imperfect. Capitalism is always going to be the way it is. You can't really just, turn around and make everything perfect. That's, that was what the problem with socialism was, right? So like, I think at the end of the day, the best we can hope for is to give more opportunity to people. And I think this is the crux of what we're trying to do here, is provide a system that provides opportunity for those people who are willing to get up and try to like earn that opportunity, earn the, the knowledge, get themselves educated. And I think we're going to do our best to support those people with education systems, with incentive systems, and with, first and foremost, the digital cash system that they can take with them anywhere they want to go. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to make it a little bit corny, what is Visa? Visa's trying to do that exact same thing, but Visa's doing it in a very weird, not very user-friendly format. And I think crypto is sort of the next stage of those platforms. And it just so happens that we can also leverage these systems to, educate and provide the opportunity that I was trying to speak about. Yeah.
Well said. So Proteus, I wanted to ask you a little bit about the way voting works. Is it something that will be available when mainnet launches, or is it something that will be added as time goes on? And what will be the underlying system for voting with one coin equals one vote? Because I don't think it is something that you would have inherited from Bitcoin Cash, because I'm not aware of it being a feature of Bitcoin Cash. So how did it come about, and what are the plans?
So the way that we're doing that is in a much more manual way currently than it will be in the future. The way that the voting is done is based off of signatures through your client. So within your Devault core client, whether it's the daemon or the QT, you can sign a message, and each proposal has its own message that's the ID for that proposal. So you would sign basically with the message being the ID of the proposal, and then the coins on that address will represent one vote per coin. As long as the coins stay on that address for the duration of voting, then those votes will count towards the final results. If you do move your coins, they will be disqualified. So that is something that voters are going to need to consider. You're probably going to want to have an address that you have specifically for voting, or a small group of addresses that you use specifically for voting. Now, in the end result, in the end, we might end up putting all of that completely on chain, like through the console as an RPC command, and then tally that way. But I know in the near future, we'll probably integrate to where you can do that with multiple addresses, where you can sign a message, a proposal ID with multiple addresses at once from within the wallet. Because as of right now, you will have to do it one address at a time in order to tally up your votes.
Okay, so does that mean, will there be kind of like a deadline for a proposal, and then at that particular block, then however much you have in your wallet will be the weight of your vote, or how would that work?
So that is the current system. Now, all of this stuff is subject to change and things that we're discussing daily. And there's a few different ideas on how to implement that. I'm sure Decentralizd could go over a few if you wanted to. But as of the current system, that would be the system. Now, I do believe that if you move your coins off of an address, you can't just put the coins back on that address and have the vote counted.
Correct. Yeah,
right
it rebalances, I think, a couple times a day. And so if at any given time the coin balance is less than, it's okay if it's more than, but you just can't have less than the initial vote that you had cast. It'll disqualify, and you'll have to manually revote again.
Right. Okay. And then I'm assuming there'll be some sort of website which kind of keeps a track of all of these signed messages and
correct. It's already built. Nice it's in beta right now, and I would say give us another week or so to polish it up before we put it out there. There's just some images and stuff we want to clean up for the beta launch. But again, that's going to be a similar platform that we have to work on for quite some time. We're trying to go the route of social media because we feel like that is the method of communication on the internet, obviously, that everyone is used to. And so sort of building out a complete social media platform takes a lot of time and effort. And with a smaller budget and a smaller team, we just want to make sure that we take our time.
And it also makes it a lot easier to create a dialogue from within where you actually vote. I don't believe there's any other networks that use that type of system. I mean, everyone has one place where you vote, another place where you might talk about it on a forum or something like that. But this way, all of that gets integrated into one. And all of that is built in. It's fully functioning right now for the vote and tally system, and it looks really good too. We have a great dev team working on that.
Awesome. So what about putting in proposals? How would that work? Is that done from within the wallet itself as well, or would you have to do that on a forum?
Yeah, that would also be built into the Devault.online website. So basically, the Devault.online website is going to cover everything from you can make a profile. It'll have some news feeds going on in there. You'll be able to sort of keep track of all the proposals happening on the network. You can vote on all the proposals happening on the network. You can add your own. You can when I say fill out your profile, I mean you can add right now, as of currently, you can add all your social media handles. You can fill out your description, title, image, header image, all that good stuff that you would expect. I think one of the next features that we're working on is going to be the sort of wall concept where you can talk to your friends on their wall. The friends can post things on their own wall, sort of like a status update. But in the end, at the back of all that, we have the governance layer, which is where all the voting aspects lie. Whereas, you know what I mean, as far as any sort of governance related things are going to happen, that has its own section on that website.
Okay, dare I be so brave as to call it a Facebook killer?
I mean, I wouldn't call it. So Facebook, in my mind, is a social media website first. we're kind of going backwards. We're taking some inspiration from other social media websites, obviously, because they've been around for a long time. They do it right already. No sense in trying to reinvent the things that are obvious. So we are taking some inspiration from them. But as far as that, it's more comparable to, I would say, LinkedIn. But yeah, Facebook. I mean, if we can get to the scale of Facebook, we would love to be the scale of Facebook. And I think one of our metrics, just like Facebook, user. That at the end of the day, we need to worry about that user count. We need to make sure that the amount of profiles being made is constantly rising. If that's not the case, then I think then that's a sign that our onboarding funnel is in need of some help.
Awesome. I just wanted to get Proteus in for one last question. I'm aware that we're running out of time. So Proteus, this is a last question. It's a question basically similar to what I asked Decentralizd earlier, but for developers who wanted to get involved with Devault, what kind of steps could they take? How could they get in touch with you guys, or should they just go to the GitHub and make themselves known? What would be the best way for other active developers to get involved? And also, what language is Devault being programmed in?
So definitely it would be great to start to get into our Discord and introduce yourself. But opening issues on GitHub is also, a great way to show that you're actually going through the code and, trying to find some stuff that you can help with. We do accept pull requests. Anyone's welcome to fork and, try to improve the code base. We will definitely take any pull request serious and review it. And, anything that we think that's good and actually adds to the code base in a positive way, then we would certainly be open to accepting that pull request, merging that. And then also if the code base is written in C++. We also have some tools written in JavaScript, Node.js, and others that people are welcome to join in on. That's also available on our Devault crypto GitHub organization. Spock would be a good person to get in touch with if a developer was looking to join the core development team. And then if you were looking to build web tools, add to the social media to help the developer there, Cayeno, then you would definitely want to contact me, which you can find me on Discord or email or whatever.
Yeah, and I would just like to throw in as well, developers are always welcome to submit proposals to the proposal system, obviously, and
Absolutely.
do sort of independent work. Obviously, it's really hard to, I would say, justify some of the proposals early on based on, just coin economics and pricing and things like that. Obviously, nobody wants to pay millions of coins for a $5,000 product. But at the end of the day, everyone's welcome to submit proposals, and we would definitely encourage developers to do that. And we are also going to work on bounties as soon as possible.
Yeah, absolutely.
We just need to figure out kind of what that looks like in terms of what our priority list is.
Yeah, I believe Spock's actually been putting together a list for that as well. So
that's
that
what
should be available soon.
Awesome. Well, that leads me perfectly onto my final question. Is for you, Decentralizd. Where can people? Well, actually, before I even ask that. This testnet that we're talking about, is that open to the public? Can anybody get involved with the testnet and actually test out the Devault system?
Yeah, so everyone's welcome to do the testnet. It's just going to be up for the next couple of days. We've already kind of internally tested quite a bit for a very, very long time. We just wanted to make sure that everyone had the opportunity to play around with it prior to launch. And then mining works right now. Like I said, Proteus said, he has a pool up, minedvt.com. If they want to learn more about any of the other stuff, then they can basically just hit us Discord, Telegram. They can go to devault.cc. And that's going to be the main website. We will also welcome people to make other websites with information about the coin. We don't necessarily just need one main website. But beyond that, I would say everyone's welcome to be involved. We don't really, our whole goal is to lower the barrier to entry for people to get involved in crypto overall anyways. So whether you know something about crypto, whether you think you're a genius, please, let us know what you think. And, we're interested in everyone's opinion.
Awesome. Decentralizd, thank you so much for your time today. And also Proteus, the same to you. Thank you so much for your time, you guys.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Yeah, you guys have been very, very transparent. I'll have to get all of those links to all of those various resources from you.
Sure.
And I'll put them in the description below. For everybody who's listening, thank you so much for listening. Please like and subscribe and all of that other good stuff. And we're going to try to have these updates every single month. So hopefully when we have our update next month, we can talk about how well the network is doing and how we haven't had to pull it down, and then relaunch it or anything crazy like that. So everything should be running fine. But then hopefully we'll have month after month after month of updates and just keeping everybody in the loop via an audio means what's happening within Devault. So thank you all very much for listening, and I'm looking forward to speaking to you all next month.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, Cryptosi.